right, guys, we are indeed coming back here, and we're back with our second segment. We do have, oops, that's the wrong one, AutumnWindz joining us, Josh Lee, the owner of Dotaland.net. Josh, my friend, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Very well, very well. Thank you for asking, and thank you for being here. I know you are a busy man, and we do certainly appreciate it. So I like to start all of these interviews off with sort of a self-introduction for those out there that may not have heard of you, don't know why you're significant. What do you do in Dota?
I do a bunch of translating for Chinese Dota 2 news and stuff like that. That's mainly what I do. Dotaland.net. I've been doing that for about over a year. I was also the translator at TI3 and recently MLG for DK. So that's basically what I do.
Yeah, very cool. So how did you first get involved in translating? Were you just one that was lucky enough to be raised sort of bilingual when you were into Dota and it just seemed to be a good fit, or was there some other catalyst that brought that about?
Yeah, basically. I went to middle school and high school in Beijing, so I grew up with the whole internet cafe culture over there in the 2000s, and so yes, I was raised bilingual and also had the gaming background. So last year I just decided to create a website and just go for it. I had no idea it would lead to anything, but I just did it for fun, and now here I am.
Yeah, I remember poking my head onto Dotaland when you guys were like 50 Twitter followers deep, and now you guys are up to about 850. So obviously, Dotaland has been growing a bit. Talk to us about the website in a little bit more detail. If you're comfortable sharing numbers, I would be very curious to hear about how much traffic this site gets, because it really shows, I think, is one decent metric of how interested the English-speaking Dota community is in Chinese Dota. I mean, is the traffic on this site way higher than you ever would have expected when you first put it together?
Um, I think when I first started, I didn't really have any expectations at all, and I think when I first started, I probably wasn't really that great either. But nowadays, I mean, when I post something and it gets retweeted and put on Reddit, it gets pretty decent views, I guess, in the five figures.
All right, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, yeah, I'm clicking right here. Yeah, like recent the DK files that got like 16,000 views.
It's pretty
So,
solid.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Reddit does have a pretty good impact on those numbers when they make it onto that front page, that's for sure. But still, that's pretty
Yeah.
solid, and I'm not surprised because you really do have a pretty unique operation here. As far as to my knowledge, no one else is really putting forth a significant effort and helping us English speakers understand what's going on in a very Dota prevalent part of the world. So I'm sure there are a lot of folks out there that are appreciative of what you do. So, talk to us about translating itself. As an American, being bilingual is something that just sort of blows my mind. I've always wished that I could be, but never put forth any serious effort to be able to do it. Is it hard? Do you find yourself struggling for words that don't have direct translations, where you have to take liberties? Is there sort of a level of integrity that becomes difficult, where Chinese and English just have very different foundations, perhaps?
There definitely is a bit of that, I guess. As for integrity, I do always try my best to translate for the exact meaning. So sometimes that means that what I translate ends up being little bit flowery or whatever, maybe a little bit elaborate because I'm trying to just keep the entirety of the original Chinese and reflect
Right.
like the whole meaning, the context, and maybe even the kind of atmosphere that the original text was trying to project. Um, but as for liberties, maybe a little bit. Like for example, recently someone commented on Reddit about how I translated the Chinese phrase "jiayou" as "add oil," saying that's a literal translation, and maybe saying that maybe that's not the best translation, but for some things like that, sometimes you just have to decide on one thing and stick with it.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I can see how that could easily be sort of a no-win situation where you have to take a liberty one way or another, and kind of no matter what you do, it can be construed as wrong or misinterpreted. So that is one of those one of the parts of the job, I guess, that could be a little bit rough, so to speak. So talk to us a little bit about translating at MLG Columbus and working with Team DK. How did all of that treat you, and what was the event like for a translator such as yourself?
MLG was really great. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, but I went there and everyone was good to me. It was really fun. DK are really great people. It was a lot of fun. I didn't do anything on stage with MLG and DK, but I was with them basically backstage every single day from, I don't know, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. And yeah, I never felt like, oh, this is boring or this sucks or anything like that. I mean, complete opposite. It was just, super fun. Everyone was very accepting of me. DK, yeah, I had a lot of fun with them.
Yeah, that's good. Glad to hear it. That's cool. And I want to apologize. I had sort of announced this as like, oh, the DK translator, and that was an isolated incident. You're not officially affiliated with DK outside of that particular tournament, correct? Just to clear the air. Okay.
Yeah, after MLG, I guess I'd say I'm friends with a lot of them and whatnot, and I've had a couple of them as contacts for a while, so I can help them with things, but I'm not officially affiliated with any team.
Okay, all right, good to know. So, talk to us about the culture of Chinese players a little bit. Dota, I guess you could say it's a little bit more serious in China. That might be a good way to describe it. How is it interacting with those players versus the North American, EU, CIS type players? As an outside observer, having never really met one of the Asian players in person and talked to them in any significant fashion, it seems to me that they're a little bit more serious, very dedicated, very just next level seriousness about their play style. Would you say that's spot on? I mean, how does the culture affect the kind of gameplay style?
Serious is one way to put it, I think. It's not just completely just more serious in the try hard sense though. People, they still have fun. They know how to play a troll lineup or whatever, but they have yeah, like in Chinese sometimes they call them troll lineup or whatever. They call it a circus lineup. So when you're playing a weird lineup or whatever like that, you're putting on a circus act. And teams that often do that, teams that have weird things that aren't in the meta a lot, they're called circus teams.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
So so that's sort of in contrast with the serious the serious standard teams. You got the circus teams.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, seriousness. Fans definitely, they are very passionate. For example, at MLG we had just a whole group of fans. One night, I think it was Friday, they came up to us after all the matches and they just said, "Hey guys, we got a bunch of cars. We'll take you guys to go eat at this Chinese restaurant." So they piled us all in the cars and we went to a Chinese restaurant, I don't know, 10 minutes away. And then they just bought us all food, every single one of us. I don't think any of us paid.
Oh, that's nice.
And then they took us back. Yeah.
Oh.
Obviously it's because it's DK, but
Yeah.
that's So they are they're very passionate about it. For a lot of people in China, gamers and whatnot, they grow up with this kind of thing. It basically becomes a way of life for them. I think a lot of Dota players can relate, but it's especially true in China, I think.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I really wanted to ask you about is it was sort of a recent drama around the raid call EMS1 was the Alliance versus Vici series in the semifinals where Vici Gaming were not wearing any sort of noise-canceling headphone protection, anything like that. And On further investigation, many of us were sort of surprised to hear that VG doesn't use any kind of VoIP. They don't use... Oh, Jesus, just spilled my water all over the place. Sorry about that. They don't use any sort of voice over internet protocol software. They just yell at each other, which is just very different from what we're used to in NA, EU, CIS, the region outside of Asia. Do you want to speak to that a little bit? Of course, there was that sort of drama arising out of it as they did win the series. Alliance allowed them to not wear the headsets. Any thoughts as to, A, why they opt for no VoIP, and B, sort of the integrity implications of that call by EMS to allow them to not wear headsets and be able to hear the casters?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a different gaming environment that Chinese players grew up in, I guess. Maybe not completely super different from parts of Europe where there's internet cafes, or there used to be. But yeah, basically Chinese players, I post on Reddit, there's an entire generation of Chinese players, this generation, they pretty much all grew up playing Dota and similar games in internet cafes for the most part, when they were in high school or younger, when they're, getting their roots. So basically from their first time playing, with friends or whatever after school, to the next time they form a team for some random local tournament, all the way up to the point they join an actual team with a team house. They're all playing in that exact same environment where it's a LAN environment. They're sitting right next to their teammates. So there was never any need for voice over IP or anything like that. So for one, it's just habit, and for another, it's convenience. Chinese internet, they don't really use voice over IP a lot even now. There's no exact popular equivalent of like Mumble or Vent or whatever that at least I know of, and I don't think anyone I ever knew of ever used it. So yeah, that's basically what I think.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed to be kind of a genuine cultural thing, like, no, we're just used to not wearing headsets, man. That's how we roll in our internet cafes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys are lame and opt to use headsets when you're sitting next to each other. I see how that's kind of weird to someone that's not used to wearing headsets. Like, you're right next to each other. Why do you need a mic?
Right.
I get it to some degree. I've been to LAN parties with my friends and had that same conundrum.
Yeah, I pretty much relate with them. I don't think I've ever used a headset when I sit next to people. A lot of players in China, they don't even use earphones or headphones. They don't even listen to the game sound, because at a lot of crappy internet cafes, the headsets are all busted and stuff, so you just don't have sound on half the computers. And then some of the people, they just don't have the habit, like they're talking to their friends or whatever.
See,
so
that I find a little more strange, because I feel like that could sometimes put you at a little bit of a disadvantage. Like, the game sounds do come in handy sometimes. There is stereo, so sides and stuff. You hear the Clockwork ulti and Pudge ulti and that kind of stuff.
I think for really, big matches, important things, pretty much all the Chinese pros, they will listen to game sound. It's not like, I just don't ever, but yeah.
So interesting. It was not real drama. I use drama in quotes. It wasn't real drama, but it was just one of those things that made headlines, and it's just definitely a cultural thing. So I thought you may have some a valued bit of insight there. So we're going to get close to the end of this interview, but I want to ask you a little bit about G League and your involvement with that tournament. Are you involved heavily with G League and translating stuff, or not so much?
G League, this season of G League, the only thing I did for them was help them invite most of the Western teams, like Empire and Navi. We invited them, but they couldn't come. Same with EG. Wait, was it EG or Liquid? Anyway, that's the only thing that I helped them do, was invite not all, but most of the Western teams.
Right.
Yeah.
I have someone on the Reddit thread. I try to use it as sort of a spot for people to post questions if there's anything curious that people are curious about that I'm not privy to. And someone said, ask about speed in China, but I'm not really sure exactly what angle they mean. As to my knowledge, Charlie, you may correct me if I'm wrong. Speed are no longer. Are they still scheduled to go to China, or did that go kaput with the whole Marco drama?
They're in China.
They're
right
in
now.
China right now. Did I miss that? Am I sleeping?
They're in China for G League.
Oh, they're in China for G League. Okay, all right, but not in the gaming house. So, anybody have thoughts on that?
I can't say anything.
Okay, Charlie is an enigma. He knows too much for his own good. Okay, so Josh, how about you? Any thoughts about Speed in G League right now? Performance?
I don't think they played yet, right?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm clearly out of the loop on this front.
Tonight.
Yeah, they've been practicing and scrimming at a really nice internet cafe in Shanghai. It's a super nice one. I want to go there. I'm sort of jealous.
I'm jealous too.
Yeah, that internet cafe. I've wanted to go there since it opened. I think it opened like last year or something, so it's pretty new too.
Cool.
Yeah. Apparently they stomped LGD in a scrim the other day.
Well,
that's according to social media.
The most reliable of sources.
Yeah.
And I do see a question here as well. What do you think about the current VG roster, and are you a little bit excited about ZSMJ back to the carry role?
Current VG roster, Vengeance Gaming. They look good. They sort of came out of nowhere. Like, they were just sort of middling, and then all of a sudden they won a bunch of things, and no one could beat them, and that's where they are now. So it's been pretty interesting to see. I don't know if it'll stick, but if it does, that would be cool. And for ZSMJ back to Tongfu's carry, I like it. Because, he switched with Joe, who was the former carry, and Joe has said, ZSMJ has said in the past that he is not a good in-game commander or whatever. So, and you often want that from your support. So he used to play support, and now he plays carry. Whereas Joe has always been a good in-game commander, and now he's on support. So maybe for Tongfu that means that their supports will have better in-game direction and whatnot, since it's Joe. And ZSMJ is very solid carry, so at least last hitting and stuff. So I think it's a good change to at least try to attempt to make for Tongfu.
Fair enough indeed. I want to ask, is this actually you at AutumnWindz with this array of tweets that are winky faces? I saw someone post that, very meaningful tweets. I'm going to follow them, and I looked at them and realized, oh my, I've been showing this Twitter that has, that's actually you, not a troll account.
Oh, the one with one tweet per year?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's quite the record.
Yeah, that's my personal old Twitter account. I don't do much with that. If you
don't say.
If you wanna check Dotaland stuff, it's
Dotaland
at Dotaland.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I have the wrong Twitter up on the overlay again. I'm just all over the place today. But alas, guys, make sure you do follow him at Dotaland. Here it is to show it to you. And of course, make sure you check out Dotaland.net, not .com, but alas, it is Dotaland.net. Josh, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you giving us some of your valuable time. Any shout-outs, closing thoughts you want to make? The floor is yours, my friend.
Shout-outs. I don't have any sponsors. I guess
friends.
Shout-outs to I don't know. Everyone that's been good to me, cool to me. You guys are all awesome.
All right.
Yeah. Fans, if I have any.
Sorry, that wasn't
anyone
meant to
that
be a trick
reads.
question.
Yeah, anyone that reads my stuff, I mean, it's great. Give me feedback, good feedback, bad feedback, whatever. It's all good. I like you guys. Yeah, and thanks for having me on the show.
All right, well, thank you, sir. Keep up the good work. You do fill a needed role, a very niche role at that, and I have no doubt Dotaland will continue to grow in popularity as more people discover it in all of its glories. It is some insight into a scene that those of us that speak primarily English really don't get a lot of insight into, aside from the little bit we see on streams and stuff like Dotaland. So we do thank you for that. That does wrap up today's episode, though, guys. Episode 20 of the morning show in the books. We'll be here on Friday. Charlie, we are confirmed for Friday's guest. Can I tease it here? Can I give them something to think about for the next 2 days?
Yeah, sure.
Bulba going to be joining us on Friday. Sam going to be coming by. Oh, it's going to be a good one. I know Charlie's got some zingers he's going to throw at him.
Oh man, every time I flame him on air, he just like he messages me privately after, and he's like, "Dude, can you stop? Please, please, Charlie."
Wow.
Please, Charlie, stop it. Stop it, you bad man. So, alas, we are going to have Bulba on for Friday, so going to be very exciting. And we got to get Tiva, I can't even say his name, the guy that everybody knows, Tiva Dodo. We got to get him on here one of these days. He's an interesting individual as well. You're on the list. I know he's listening. You're on our list, buddy. We're going to get you on here. So that does wrap it up, though, guys. Remember to check us out on the web for everything you need to know. Dotaradio.com/morning show. And, of course, the email morningshow@dotaradio.com for any kind of feedback, questions, comments, concerns, positive or negative. We welcome all of your comments. Until next time, though, guys, be kind to yourselves and be kind to each other. We'll see you on Friday, the episode with Bulba number 21. And, of course, I'm headed over to BTS to cast Star Ladder day 11. I've forgotten what day we're on anyway, but I'll be on the summit for the rest of the day. See you later, guys.